Hello, my lovely friends. This is Tuesday, and I am back with another process video. This is one that is pretty heavily embellished. It is products from my stash. Nothing new here. This isn't even from the empty box. This is literally just from my stash. And I get busy with some mixed media. And I go for colors that I don't usually put together because I get concerned about it looking like when you mix yellows and golds and blacks, sometimes it looks like a bumblebee effect. So I don't normally mix these two colors, but I did on this one, and I think it turned out okay. It's not my favorite layout, but you'll see as we go along. I just kept embellishing and embellishing and embellishing. And so I wanted to use up some frames from my stash, and I think I did a good job of doing that on this layout. I took this paper from My Mind's Eye Bloom collection, and I just fussy cut out these gorgeous flowers. I knew that I wanted to start with that in the frames, and I had grabbed some other gold elements and some flare and things that you'll see as we go along. I am going to take this, I believe it's, yeah, it's Close to My Heart smooth cardstock, and I'm going to add some gesso to the background so it can handle the mixed media and shimmers products that I am going to use. Now, if you don't use gesso on the back of your background and you add a bunch of water or mixed media, it just kind of rips and tears at the paper, and it warps it badly, and it cannot handle all of the liquid that you put on top. So it's always my suggestion, if you're going to get messy and heavy-handed as I do, you want to make sure that you've got that protective layer that gesso provides. And it does assist in the warping. I usually have to back the background paper when I put a lot of mixed media on it, just to help stretch the canvas, so to speak, and make it flat. But this one didn't really warp that much. I think it's because some of the embellishments that I placed on it were quite heavy, and that helped it lay down flat once I let it set overnight. So I'm just grabbing some of my shimmers in Glorious Day. It's a lovely gold color, and I'm watering that down. And you can see there in that dark spot, that is where I did not have gesso. And what a difference it makes in the coloration when you don't have gesso on the paper. So make sure you cover that well. I'm going to end up covering that with embellishment, so it won't matter. But in the event that you went a little heavier on the mixed media and a little lighter on the embellishments, you might want to keep that into consideration. So I'm just trying to figure out where I would like to start building some clusters in relation to my photos. And I grabbed my Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine and decided to add that because it is a darker gold than the Glorious Day, and also just a little touch of black. I'm going to water that down. It's just cheap acrylic paint that I had bought in, I think, a half-gallon size because my daughter was painting so much with black. I just decided, let's just get a big thing of this, and of course she's kind of abandoned it for my use, but that's okay. White and black live forever, right? So I am going to use it. So I got some heavier splatters for the black, and I'm going to let that dry and then dig back into this My Mind's Eye Bloom paper and start to build my photo on top of the layers of that paper. I think I also grabbed some scraps to back that paper because I do like to layer up, or photo, I'm sorry, not paper. I like to layer up. So that I don't believe I wrote down what paper that is, but it's fairly old. I may have shown you in the beginning which papers were which. I can't remember as I'm editing. I'm looking at my cheat sheet, so Not sure if I show you that, but it is just a soft houndstooth print, and it matches very well with this black and gold theme that I'm going with. So you can see I added a little bit more of the Glorious Day with another layer because I felt like it was just too light, and I let that dry. And I didn't have to really do it in the center because I knew I was going to put the photo there and build out that framework. So here's where we get pretty heavy. Now that one frame in the top, on the top, I'm going to end up cutting that down. It's just too thick for my liking, and I feel like it's almost exactly the same size as the photo, so I don't care for that. And I think I'm painting this frame because it was a craft color on top and I wanted it to be white, so I'm just using some white acrylic paint to change the color from, it's actually like a chipboard gray, it's not even craft. So take your embellishments and change them or alter them as you see fit. It just, to me, it, you know, is so easy to make it your own and make it match your layout. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. Now I did have some more of these larger gold glitter frames like the one I'm cutting down, and they were thick enough that I cut the corners off and used the corners as just corner pieces on a photo on one layout a while back. So there are multiple ways you can use your embellishments differently than what they're intended for. So be creative. So that looks much better to me. That looks more balanced, especially with the frame on the bottom. And I'm just going to add some of these beautiful florals that I fussy cut from the paper. And I love those florals. I just, even though they're realistic, and sometimes I shy away from realistic florals, there are some that I just fall in love with, or I've made for cheeky that I really, really like, because, you know, you got to mix it up. You don't want to always do the same layouts over. Well, I don't. Maybe you do. Maybe you are in a comfort zone and you like to make the same thing over and over. But I have a tendency to want to switch it up and change it. Much like a lot of my art, I have done various mediums of art, ranging from, you know, watercolors and painting and graphic design and crochet and mosaics and distressing furniture. I mean, I've done just about everything. Cross stitch on linen with beadwork, jewelry making. I love to create. So now these stickers that you see me using, the one that says today was awesome, that's going to end up being my title, and that is from the Heidi Swap memory. No, I'm sorry, they're Mamby stickers. They are from Mamby, those the larger ones. I am going to bring in some Heidi Swap, but not just yet. So, or maybe I did. Maybe that's what the XO, I believe that is what the XOXO is. And then, yeah, the smile and the today was awesome is that Mamby sticker. I thought I would try to use this gold, like, it's a metallic thread, but it's so old. I could not get it to not be like a curly Q. It just wanted to be a curly Q, and I was like, no, that's not going to work for me on this layout. So I scrapped that idea. I end up using a couple of ephemera labels from that My Mind's Eye Bloom collection, because I did have the ephemera pack. And one of them will be Take Note, and the other one will be Remember Today. And you'll see me add those here in just a moment. So I'm just kind of securing the background, gluing things down. Make sure when you use gesso you do use glue, because it's going to end up coming off the page if you don't. And I love that circular gold element, that chipboard that says Eastman Kodak Company. I guess they had to spell it Kodak instead of Kodak, or they would have been in violation of copyright, but it's still cute, and I understand the reference, so I do like that. I'm just popping up some of the flowers here to make them look a little more dimensional, adding a little bit of the sticky foam behind them and securing down some of these other elements. That word smile, that label smile, was actually from Mambi, and it was clear, so I just put it on a white cardstock and cut it out so that you could read it better. And you can see those little ephemera labels to the left. I'm going to add to the layout as well. I must be adding a, oh, I see. I added the white background to that sticker that says smile. Oh, I've got a little piece of paper over Bab's face. This photo is in San Francisco. We were in downtown area, and this is overlooking the bay and the bridge. So we were at the wharf, Fisherman's Wharf area, and we thought we would take a picture. And what's funny is we got quite uncomfortable because, as many know, California is very liberal when it comes to partaking in what's an illegal substance in Texas. And there were people just right there. There were police officers pretty much behind us, just to the left of, no, I'm sorry, to the right behind Bab. And then almost in front of us to the right was a bench park, or a park bench, I'm sorry, I'm backwards. And there were people partaking. And so we took this picture, and almost immediately we were like, okay, I'm uncomfortable, let's get out of here. So I mean, even though it's legal, I just, I was uncomfortable. And Alan was kind of like, wow, I can't believe this. And I was like, I'm out. I'm out, I gotta go. So, the chipboard word that says happy, it doesn't look like you can see it very well in the layout, but it shows up on, it does not show up on camera, it does show up on the layout, let's put it that way. I'm adding a few more of these realistic florals that came from the Bloom ephemera pack, and also some flair from my stash that I had bought a very long time ago. I believe the one with the potty people is from a Flair for Buttons, and I believe the one that says picture is, I know it's not a Flair for Buttons, it's another company, and I can't think of it straight off. The word heart was, I want to say, an old Maggie Holmes from my stash, and it's just chipboard that I secured down with glue, or I guess I'm doing that now. And it does show up well on the layout. I think it's just the reflectiveness of the gold that's making it not appear as much on camera, but it does show up very well against that doily. Now, I felt like I was almost done, but I needed something at that top right-hand corner, and I am going to grab a punch from my stash and just a scrap of that black paper that I used with the gold foiled hearts, and I'm going to make a little notch there in the upper right. So I must be going, oh no, I'm adding the labels now. Lots of gluing on this layout, lots of embellishments. I warned you in the beginning that I was heavy-handed. So this punch is from Martha Stewart. It's not my favorite element on the page because of the way it punches, but I think it ties in with the theme. And I don't know, like I said, this is not my favorite layout lately. I just kept going and going and going. I don't use that paper. I end up switching to the darker paper. So I don't know, I kind of went overboard, but that happens, and every layout can't be your favorite. So, oh, that gold was just a little bit short, and I didn't want it to have a blank opening. So I'm just kind of interviewing and trying to figure out. That gray looks like it would work on camera, but it did not work in person. So And I'll have close-ups at the end that you can view. I do have a collaboration that I'm doing with some fun girls for Easter. So I'll tell you that is going to be, I believe, on the 20th. I want to say it's the 20th of this month. And it is, because it is Easter, I'm going to get the words out. This is a long video for me. Because it is Easter theme, we're all going to have our different takes on something to celebrate Easter. So stay tuned for that. There's some fun girls on that collaboration. Oh, I don't end up going back to that bloom paper. I end up pulling a cheeky wildflowers paper from my scraps. And that gray is just, it ties in perfectly with that bloom collection. So I'm trying to figure out placement. I didn't really want one of the leaves in the way, so I think I end up cutting off another piece just so it's a, so it's a solid gray color. I'm going to secure that down, and then I am going to add a couple of enamel dots that are from My Mind's Eye Record It, and that was the Charmed collection, and they are just a glittery gold enamel dot that really helps finish off this layout. I'll tuck a few of those around my clusters and one or two up in that upper right hand corner to tie it in, and go back. I believe I go back with some of my Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine and do a few more sprinkles just to make sure that it all ties together perfectly. So I guess this is going to wrap it up. I was going to tell you something else. Oh, if you have not heard, Bab and I are officially engaged. This is week 2 of being engaged, and we're really excited. We're very, very excited. It will probably be a long engagement just because we have so much going on in our lives. I was thinking maybe April or May of next year. And I know of a venue that I've always loved. I went to a wedding there years ago, and I thought if I ever get married again, it will be at this venue. And what's funny is when he proposed at an area that he went to about the same time, about 10 years ago, and said if I ever propose, I'm going to propose here. And so it worked out perfectly. We both get our wish, and we get to live happily ever after together. So we're excited to do that. So make sure, if you like this video, to thumbs up and subscribe. If you want notifications every time I put up a new video, click the bell. And I think that's it. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I will talk to you later. Ta-ta for now. Bye.